Alright y'all, so as you can tell by the title of the video, I think it's time for me to start working on this downpipe install, should I? Well, I shall. I'm going to try to go over everything I'm going to do. I heard it's a pain in the butt to do it on the Speed 6, and I'm going to learn today. But for now, let me put this back in the trunk and get this started. So I'm going to remove the top mount shroud. Don't worry guys, I have a front mount on the way for this thing. So this is going to be going to the stock bin that I usually carry around inside the casa of mine. But I'm going to go ahead and take off the top mount shroud and unbolt the top mount intercooler and then go from there. Alright, so 10mm, pop these suckers off. Alright, then you gotta pop off the 3 top mount bolts that hold on the top mount in place. So you got 1, 2, 3. One thing I recommend is for you guys to get like a little magnetic tray or baggies and keep your bolts organized so you don't misplace this. I don't know how many times I've came across this issue when I go help folks and they misplace a bolt or not. So it's always good to be organized when you're removing bolts. But like I mentioned, this isn't going to be here soon, or this isn't going to be here forever. This is going to be going in the stock pile bin. But just a quick tip, FYI, 12mm. Okay, once you remove the bolts, remove the vacuum line that connects to your blow-off valve or bypass valve. After you do that, remove the hose that comes off the intake. Loosen the clamp on your throttle body coupler and then your turbo coupler. And if you're wondering, the clamp should be these puppies here, okay? These. Okay, quick tip guys. Whenever you put a clamp, try to always position the hex head or the Phillips head portion on the clamp to your best of conveniences. As you can see, I have access to it and it's easier to get access to that. So I always recommend whenever you put in a clamp like this, try to position that piece in a position where you're able to get to it. It's the same that I did for the other one. As you can see, it's right there, but I'm not loosening that one, just this one. But just wanted to throw that tip out there. Now when you pull it this way and it should pop off on this side, and you should be able to pop it off from the top. Now this motor has a good compression. I checked the compression on it, but I'm almost certain it won't last for a very long time, but I'm prepared for that. Anyways, once you got the top mount off, you're gonna have to remove this dumb shield that's right here, right? You're gonna have this bolt, that bolt, that bolt, that bolt, which is already loose. Well, not really, but, and then you have that bolt right there. So that should all pop out. And the way you remove this, it's a little hard to remove it. You kind of have to jimmy it, like in weird positions until it comes out. And then one other thing, I'm gonna cover these holes off. That one and then this one, just to prevent anything from going in, including the one that's on the throttle body, just to cover it and be more safe. I like to be safe than sorry. So let me get those bolts off and remove that heat shield. Alright, if you're wondering, this is a 8mm socket. So these are 8mm bolts. Alright, so once you get it loose, you kind of have to jimmy it out like I mentioned. It takes a little bit of a couple tries, but it'll come out. I feel like it's a lot easier than my Gen 2 was, but it should come out just like that. Alright y'all, so there's no question about it, this thing has some rust. You're gonna have to remove that bolt, that bolt. And there's a bolt right behind you. Right there. You can see the head. Alright, so it should be a 10 mil. So those are going to be 10 millimeter bolts. One thing I recommend is for you to spray everything, all the bolts down with B12. Some PB blaster, I should say. So you could have some sort of leeway and get the oil to penetrate into the bolts overnight. And then start the car up and let it warm up a little bit. That way you have some heat and it kind of expands a little bit and you're able to break it easier. Please note and be careful with that bolt on the back, because some folks tend to strip that bolt. I did that on the first time when I did it on my Gen 2, which is right there, and it kind of sucks. So I had to cut that whole bracket out, but just be careful with that back piece. Right now it's sitting on there snug and it should work pretty good, but we'll see. Alright, so if you're wondering, I'm using this style of ratchet that has a flexible head. I have a little extension and then the little 10 millimeter bolt, and they're all cracked right now. Now I'm going to remove the bolts. I gotta loosen up the O2 sensor that's up there, which is going to be very sketchy. So that's going to be the sketchy part. So that's going to be lubed up. I'm going to turn on the car for a little bit and then I'll turn it off, and then hopefully it'll crack. So I have the zip tie this way, right? So instead of going the opposite way where it'll lock, I have it going the other way, reversible. That way when you pull on it, you can pull it back out and put them away and use them when you actually need it. So grab a piece of paper, cover the hole, put it on there like so, and just tighten it up, and that's it. So there's another tip, 3 tips so far. So let's see what else I got for you guys to reference for or off of. But yeah. Alright. So I'm going to remove that O2 sensor off. Now I do have 2 different types of O2 sensor sockets. I have this one, which has like a little 90-degree type of design to it, which is perfect for this application. I don't remember using my longer one because I have a straight up and down one, with the socket being on top of it rather than on the side. And if you were wondering, this is a 7/8, which is a 22 millimeter socket for the O2 sensor. Just be careful with this socket because sometimes they tend to strip and you're out of luck. You're gonna have to buy a new one. But yeah, it's just FYI. Try to do it slow. I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna use to take this one off. Last time I did it on my Gen 2, I used a breaker bar and then a long socket or a long extension. So let me see what I got. Alright y'all, so I have a, why isn't this not focusing? Okay, so I have my breaker bar. This is a 3/8 breaker bar. I have a 3-inch extension with the socket. Now you should have quite enough leverage to turn that in a more reasonable manner and less of a hassle. So let me go ahead and turn it and see if it'll crack. Now one thing to know is to try to apply pressure as you turn it, because you don't want to strip that bolt. So let me go ahead and play with it. Give me a second. Alright, so I found this position to be a bit more useful. Now I'm gonna go and get some PB blaster, come back, spray it down, let it sit, turn it on for a little bit, and then turn it off. Alright y'all, so I was able to get that O2 sensor out. The thing did not want to come out though. As you can see, the threads are pretty jacked. So I might just get another one, just to be honest with you. That's not gonna be able to be saved, and if it is, I wouldn't want to try it because it'll probably mess up again. So I'd rather just get another one. Side note though, if you're just getting a car, right? Or if you're getting a Speed, I went ahead and put the new banjo bolt on there. So the banjo bolt is already replaced. Come to find out that that banjo bolt, the stock one, didn't have anything like a washer or anything, so kind of explains a little bit of the leakage on that top of the turbo. But anyways, if you do want to know how to do that banjo bolt, I'll go ahead and link a description or link the video on how to do that down below. You just take all this stuff out and you have access to it. But anyways, I got these bolts out. This should come out. So that's finally out. And I'm gonna start removing these bolts. Hopefully these don't break on me or anything. But yeah, so I'm gonna start removing these bolts. I gotta take this off so I could get some more space and leeway. I might end up removing the alternator to see if I could take the downpipe from the top side. But I'll get back to you. If you were wondering though, this heat shield has, I believe, 3 bolts. Let's see if I can get the camera in there. I can't really see, but I'll probably put it in the video. Can't really tell if I could. Can't really see what I'm looking at, but I believe this one should be one. There should be one right here, maybe. And okay, so as I was saying, I gotta take out that bolt right there. I could kind of show you. So I gotta take this bolt off, the bolt underneath that one, which is this guy. Gotta take the other one that's on this side, right there, that bolt, and then there should be 2 more on the bottom. Or let me see, hold on. So you got those 2, and there should be one underneath right there. So it's a total of 5 bolts I gotta remove. Wish me luck, guys, because a little bit of rusty issues going on here. But let me take this heat shield off, and then I'll show you the rest in a second. Give me 1 minute. The heat shield out. If you're wondering, these are 8mm bolts. So you know, one trick that I could show you guys on removing that one is, let me see, what do I do with that socket? All right, so there's gonna be a bolt on this side, which sits right there, right? So that one might be a little hard and tricky to remove. Now what I did is I used one of these ratcheting wrenches. It's an 8mm. I used a O2 sensor socket, a longer ended, open-ended one. I slid this on top just like that, put this in there like so, made sure that it grabbed the bolt. Then I had a small little extension, a 3-inch extension on a breaker bar, and from here I just moved it and broke that bolt loose. So there's another tip for you guys. I think that's like the 4th tip in this video. So I'm gonna start removing those bolts on the downpipe now and see what else I need to do on the bottom side so I get this thing out and installed. If you were wondering, those are going to be 14mm bolts. Okay guys, so quick thing to note, get yourself one of these extension bar sets. These are quick releases, which is pretty cool little feature to have. They're going to help you on removing or breaking those bolts on the downpipe one. Paired up with the breaker bar, it's going to help you out a lot. So keep that in mind. I Probably need to break one more bolt, but just FYI. Alright, if you want to learn how I got that one bottom bolt off without removing the alternator yet, all I did was I paired up one extension. So one extension with another extension, a socket, and a swivel socket, and a breaker bar, and I was able to break that one on the bottom and take it out. So they're all loose now. I'm gonna go ahead and remove them, then jack the car up and see what we're gonna have to do downstairs. Alright, so all the bolts are out except one. Now, like I mentioned, I'm gonna go underneath and see what there is down there. So go ahead and lift the car up and I'll be back. Alright y'all, so I just removed those are 17s, and these should be 15, I believe, or 15 or 16. I'm trying to figure that out right now. Let me try to listen this O2 sensor as well while I get this figured out, because I forgot what size that is. But yeah, so far, I mean, everything's coming out pretty good. These brackets are broken from all those darn rust that was built. But if you were wondering, there's not much rust on the car underneath besides the piping. I'm spraying some salt remover down here and trying to clean up the bottom, make it a little bit cleaner, and then I'm gonna do throw some paint on, and in the areas where there's rust. But I mean, the majority of the car underneath, you know, it's not really rusty. As you can see, there's not much rust underneath this car. But anyways, let me go ahead and loosen these up. Loosen this up and then try to see if I can pop this out. So yeah. Alright, well, the O2 sensor's out. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna need to get another one, because these threads don't look that great either. But we'll see. I might just buy two a pair, a top and bottom. But anyways, let me see if I can continue with this install. I'm gonna try to remove those bolts right there and see if I could just pop this whole thing out without removing this part. So let me get back to you guys. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, rather than trying to loosen up the motor mounts, removing the alternator and all that, I'm gonna remove the cowl. So first things first is you gotta pop off the caps that are on top. They literally just pry up both sides. Then this is gonna be a 12mm. Take these out. Alright, you're gonna have these little things on the side there. It's gonna be kind of clipped into it. Let me show you on the other side. So you have this, right? So you're gonna have that. So slide that part out, because it slides into this little hole in there. Now try to remember to put the wipers where they belong. I'm gonna put a piece of tape right now before I forget. It's this bottom line, so I could remember. Okay, so once you do that, you take out the little push pin that's in there. Unfortunately, I broke mine, so my little cover that sits right there is gonna be broken. And then what you're gonna do from there, you're gonna grab it and squeeze it and then pull out. Just like that. So this whole thing should pretty much be like this, as you can see. Now I'm probably not going to remove the whole thing out, because all I want to do is try to get this off. Okay, so once you do that, you're going to take that top portion off. You're going to plug this, right? So you're going to plug this so that you could finally take this motor out. It'll get you access to the bolt underneath and an easier way to remove this portion of it. So let me go ahead and show you the next steps here. Alright guys, so really quick, so this line right here is going to be the line for your window washer fluid. So this is going to be connected to this. Give me 1 second, let me show you. So it's going to be connected to that piece, okay? So I can show you in a way here how I did it, or let me show you how I did it. So I used one of these. Now the line's going to be connected to it, right? So what I did was I pinched the line and I just twisted as I pulled and it came out. So if you're somebody that doesn't want to break it or anything, just do that method. It should pop out. Considering that this car has some small rust and I was able to take it out, I'm sure you could too. Just use that method. Now next, unplug that connector that was here and go ahead and unbolt this and that. Those are 2 10s, right? So you unbolt it, take them out, and this should be pretty much ready to come out, but there's something that's preventing you from fully taking it out. And I don't know if you can see, but right here there's a little rubber grommet, little rubber grommet here, and it's going to be one of those pins that slide into that grommet, right? And it keeps it in place. So let's try to slide it up, use a flathead, slide it up, and it'll pop out. Let me go ahead and take mine out because I have to fiddle with it. Or maybe I could take it out from here. Let me see. There you go, see? And foot angle with it. Slide it out and this whole thing comes out. Now what we're gonna do is unbolt these bolts, and I'll show you a second which ones they are. Give me 1 second. Alright y'all, so you're gonna have this screw, that screw, this screw, that screw, or bolt, however you want to call it. You're gonna have 2 up here, 1, 2, and a 3rd one on the bottom, and this piece is a little bracket that sits in the center for support, which is this one for you visual learners. That's that one. So once you take out these bolts on this side, you have a few more on the other side. Okay, so you're gonna have that bolt, and then down here you're gonna have this one, same down here on this, on the bottom right, and then this bolt right here. Once you take all those out, okay, so before I show you guys, let me show you the space, okay? This is the space. So let me show you how it looks before, I guess you could say. And then once you got all those bolts off, you just slide it up and out. Now, look at that. Looks like you got way more space in here once you remove all that crapola. Now I could slide that out. Alright guys, so I was gonna try to see if I could take it out without removing that portion of the downpipe, but we're gonna have to take those out. So let me go ahead and take those bolts out. They should be size 14. I highly recommend you guys invest in an impact. I was able to break these bolts loose and then use the impact after. Alright y'all, alright guys, so the moment of truth. Let's go ahead and see if this is going to pop up from the top. I'm pretty sure it might now. Okay guys, so I went ahead and removed this little shroud that goes around the alternator. It's just 2 bolts. So this sits like this, right? One's right there, and then the other one's going to be on the bottom side. But unfortunately, mine broke. My little stud, but it's fine. So let me go ahead and remove that downpipe and get back to you. Alright y'all, So this method is possible. Gonna need a flathead for sure. And it's gonna take a little bit of play, a lot of turns, right? So what I did, as you can see all these marks, I pried it up this way, and then I turned it towards like the end, and it came out. Jesus. Now if you're wondering what kind of damage you're gonna do, I didn't really do too much damage here. All but just those small scuffs on the heat wrap, or the wrap that's on these hoses. So that method is doable. Look at all that space that's in there. You can't even see, but my thing's gonna die, so my light doesn't work anymore. But I'm gonna go ahead and put the other downpipe in, start bolting that up. And one thing to note is that I broke both of the O2 sensors. So my plan is to just put the downpipe on and then wait for those 2 bolts, or to those 2 O2 sensors. Alright guys, so this is funny. If you're wondering if you could actually put the downpipe from the top side, you could. You just kind of have to turn it and wiggle it around, and it'll literally pop on the bottom side. And you can bolt it right up. So let me go ahead and bolt this up. Look at this. It's like sliding all the way to the bottom now. Let me go ahead and get the gasket and bolt it up real quick. Okay, I don't know if I mentioned it, but I used the supplied gasket that came with this, since this is a divorce style downpipe. So I went ahead and used the one that was provided, and I'll see how that holds up. Normally I use the OEM one like I did on my Gen 2, but not on this one. Maybe if it goes out, maybe I'll have one custom made, but we'll see. So quick side note guys, I had to buy a new O2 sensor because mine completely got destroyed when I was taking it out. But if you're wondering where the O2 sensor is, you just follow that O2 sensor line. It might go into a bunch of like different routes here. Follow that line, and that'll lead you to the top of the transmission by the shifter cables. It's going to be this plug, and the other plug is going to be this black one over here. This is my old one right here. This is a new one. I gotta take this one out. So just FYI. As I just mentioned, I just installed the O2 sensor, which is the upstream. Now I'm going to do the downstream. And if you're wondering which connector that is, it's going to be this one right here. So I'm going to pop that off. I just got the new one in. And double check your connectors and see how that works. Fortunately enough, you don't have to buy any anti-seize, I believe. These are already pre-coated. The threading is pre-coated with anti-seize, so that's a plus. But let me go ahead and unplug this and then put it to the bottom. One quick thing to note guys, try not to mess with the probe on the actual O2 sensor. I'm going to keep this on so I could slide it down there. Hopefully I don't mess it up or anything. Alright, so I'm underneath the car, and there is the O2 sensor right there. Hopefully it's long enough. Seems like it's barely touching it, but go ahead and take this one out. This is the old one, which looks a lot longer, but let me go ahead and put this O2 sensor in and I'll be back. Alright, well, there it is. I might actually go unplug it from the top side though, because I don't want this to be like that. So I'm going to go unplug it on top and see if I could kind of move the connector around so I could have some sort of play here. Because it seems like it's fine, but we'll see in a second. But this is connected now. Now I gotta figure out about the resonator here and see if I'm gonna put that one on or not. So yeah, let me go ahead and figure that out. Boy, I just have to hear it one time. I opened Downpipe just for fun. Oh yeah, boy. Okay, that's enough for that. Alright, so really quick, I just wanted to throw this out there. One thing that almost flew by me when I installed this downpipe that I didn't realize until after is that the downpipe does not have a flex pipe to it. And the flex pipe is this little guy right here. I'll post a little picture so you can get an idea. Anyways, this thing doesn't have that flex pipe, and I would recommend to get one of those, just because if you're gonna have the downpipe in a resonator, which is gonna be metal on metal contact, you have that curvature and you know, movement from the engine. I suspect that it might cause that crack, which is one thing that typically most folks will see on the welds. So I got an exhaust shop to add that flex pipe on there. So it's going to be a little bit more if you add that flex pipe. So if you wanted to save money, you should go with the other downpipe that's on the market. But yeah, I went on this one I ordered this one because it was a divorce style. So yeah, so it's going to be up to you essentially. You can look up the benefits on a divorced one versus a non one. That's up to you, and something for you to check out on your own time. But that's just something I wanted to throw out there. If you do purchase this one. Other than that, the resonator that comes with this kit, it will quiet down the car a lot. It'll sound like a stock resonator delete exhaust system. So it's not gonna be too loud, but it'll give you it'll still sound pretty decent. But it's such a huge resonator that it makes a difference. I don't have it on mine because, you know, race car. But anyways, yeah, that's pretty much all I got for you for this downpipe. And yeah, if you have any questions, just comment down below, send me a message on Instagram, or figure out a way to get my attention. I know there's sometimes I get comments on the bottom, but for some reason it won't show up. Like, I get notifications of the comments, but they won't show up on the video, so I can't really reply to them. I gotta figure out the reason why that is. But anyways, it's the end of the video, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And until next time, Georgie out. Peace. Have a good one.